Ho ho ho! Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas to everybody! Merry Christmas to everybody! Merry Christmas to everybody! Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas to everybody! Merry Christmas to everybody! Merry Christmas to everybody!
What's up, everybody? All right, Alicia liked it. Hope you like those videos. I always have probably more fun creating those than everything else. What's up, everybody? As you can tell, it is Christmas theme. We have started our 21 days of fitness for those that are part of the challenge, and hopefully I could give you some more value. So not only will you get the best results in the challenge, have a chance to win the money prize and get results, but also that you could keep the results forever, because that is always the goal. What's up, Carola? What up, Sakina? All right, so today, as you could see in the title, I think I can't even see the title, but pretty much what I'm going to talk about is like the number one reason, why most people quit their health journey, and how to overcome that, and what we could do to not quit, and just the main thing out of everything is really just to realize what is happening, what is kind of going on with our emotions, and we could go from there. So jumping into it, what are some of the reasons that most people think the reason why they quit? If you have any, go ahead and comment. But a lot of people, it could be because they feel like they're not disciplined is a reason why they quit. A lot of people might think that it might be maybe they're just not motivated. Or a lot of times we're here, it's because their why isn't strong enough. But honestly, none of those reasons is the main reason why people quit. The number one reason why people quit their health journey, or really, honestly, any kind of journey that you're on, if you start a new business, whatever it may be, a relationship, the number one reason why most people quit is because they start off with a false expectation. They start off with a false expectation. A great examples of this is, so if you think about it, so a lot of times people will like eat terrible for 1, 2, 5, 10, or their entire lives, never exercise, never do anything. And then they start a health program. And for some reason, even though we tell ourselves, all right, it's going to take time, got to be patient, do all this stuff, it still takes longer than what we think. And because of that, we quit before it even begins. We'll eat, like, I don't know about you, but for me, if like the moment I stick to like super strict eating, like 3 days will go by and it feels like 3 weeks, right? Or 3 weeks goes by and it feels like 3 months. You feel like you're doing it forever, even though it's only been a short amount of time. And we're like, man, where's all of my results at? I've been doing so good. And it just sets us up for failure, just having those high expectations every single time. And I wish I had the graph, but one great graph I have is someone who tracked their weight. They lost 12 pounds. I think it was in probably about 3 weeks, which is really fast. But if you look at the graph of the weight loss, it was like this. I think within the 12-pound weight loss, their weight went up on the scale like 14 times. Like they'll drop 2 pounds and then go up half a pound. Drop a pound, go up 2 pounds. Drop 3 pounds, go up half a pound. And another kind of false expectation a lot of people have is that they think, all right, when I start losing weight, it's just gonna keep going down. There's gonna be no hiccups unless like I know I mess up, right? But the thing is, even if you do everything perfect, even if you eat perfect, even if you exercise perfect, and you have the perfect mental attitude the entire time, your weight is still going to go like this. And that's because that's what weight does. It doesn't mean your body fat is going like this. Weight goes up and down, fat is linear. So even though your weight's going like this, that doesn't mean your fat is. Your fat is probably going like this, but gain some muscle, lose some muscle, get extra bloated, not bloated, have extra poop in your body, you go extra poop that day. That's really all the weight is. So it's not a good thing to expectation. So in the past, I've talked about, if you've heard me talk about, there's these 8 result gaps that that we go through, and usually we always kind of relate to one of those gaps, and that's what's holding us from going from where we are to where we want to be. And the last one, the number 8 one, is the expectation curve, which pretty much just says I thought it was going to be easier than this. And I think every single person could relate to this, myself included. In the last Within this last year, I personally lost 30 pounds and toned up my body and did all this stuff. But I remember when I even started out with this new journey, hired a coach, literally ate perfect. And 4 weeks went by and I was so disappointed. like, 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 sure. I think I lost probably 8 pounds in those 4 weeks. But I remember, like, in the past, like, I would eat super good and my body would change pretty quick, but this time it wasn't changing. And as like 4 weeks went by, I was like, where's my abs? Even though I didn't follow a plan for over a year, I thought that within 4 weeks of being super strict, it was going to go on to it. And I just didn't have the expectation. But luckily, like, I knew from past experiences and helping people and being in the business, I knew that what I was doing was on the right path, and I just had to keep on doing it to get the results that I wanted. There's a graph that I'm gonna pull up right here. What up, Paige? What up, Layla? It's called the dip. So we all go through this, again, in whatever area of life that we go through it. But of course, I'm going to relate it to health and fitness. So think about it. So right here is right when you start your journey. It's when you first journey down the path. There's a lot of rewards. So for many of you, let's just use this 21-day challenge. This first week, you might get the most results, especially if this is your first time doing anything healthy in a long time. You might lose 5 pounds. I honestly had one lady lose, I think, 14 pounds in 3 days before, and she was still mad. She wasn't happy because she only lost like 1 inch off her stomach. I'm like, you still lost 1 inch off your waist in 3 days. Another story. False expectations. She thought she would lose like 30 inches. I don't know. So right here is when you're going to get the most results. Why? Because you're excited, because you're doing something new, you're shocking your body, you're doing all this stuff. And this may go on for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. But eventually, everybody hits this dip where just after a while, the reward versus the effort is reduced, right? And it's just called the dip. So this dip right here is usually, maybe you hit a plateau for a long time. Maybe you just start questioning yourself, like, why am I sacrificing this food? Is it really worth it? So then you give into your emotional eating, and then you're even more mad that you gave into your emotional eating. So you emotional eat more. Talking from experience here. And so we all go through this dip. And again, this dip could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. But those who do not quit during this dip and they have like measurable results on getting to the next level, eventually they start going back up, because if you push through it, it will eventually be a higher reward. So you're going to get great results, and then there's going to be a dip. It varies per person, per attitude, per situation of your life. But then if you keep going through it, you will succeed. Like I constantly say, the only way to truly fail at anything is to quit. That is the only way you could fail. Think about it. Like if you're on this weight loss journey and you never quit, you're going to hit your goal weight. Like it's inevitable. But what happens is we keep quitting and starting over, quitting and starting over. And probably the number one reason why you quit is because you had the false expectation and then you feel like you're letting yourself down or someone else down. And so you just kind of overall quit. And a lot of times this isn't even like what you're thinking. You're not thinking that you had false expectations, but this is kind of like the subconscious, and you're trying to point out realistic reasons on why you should quit. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I just don't have enough time. The kids keep me too busy. Work is too stressful. I'm quarantined. The gyms are closed, right? So we maybe because we have false expectations, but we're using other reasons to justify our reason for quitting. And so the best way to get results is to create your own luck. And to do this, there is a luck formula. So good news for us. Let me see if I could actually type this out for you guys. That way you could take a screenshot or something if you want to. Perfect. No, don't want that. Oh, maybe I do want that. Yeah, good enough. All right. So the definition for luck is right here. It is preparation, what you're willing to do, plus your attitude, which a lot of people ignore, which is a huge factor into actually getting results, plus your opportunity. What opportunities do you have to get the knowledge, to get what you need to get the results you want, plus the action that you take equals people's luck. So if you ever looked at someone and said, well, they're just lucky they have the genetics, or they're lucky they've always been fit, it's not true. It's because they prepared. It's because they had the positive attitude. It's because they had different opportunities or took advantage of the opportunity in front of them, like you guys did for the 21-day challenge. Or there's people that are in this group right now who haven't taken advantage of professional help, so they're missing out on an opportunity here. And then they took the action and then they created their own luck. So take a screenshot of that. Remember that preparation plus your attitude. Don't forget the attitude. Plus opportunity. You have to put yourself in the right opportunity and then actually take the action, and you will create your luck. And so one of the best quotes that I know is from Jim Rohn. He says, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And you want to remember that, because at the end of every email I write or anything like that, I always leave it with saying you're only one decision away. Because that is the honest truth. Everybody listening to this, you are one decision away from drastically changing your life. Again, whatever area you want to put that into, you just have to make the decision. If you've been struggling to lose weight, all you have to do is decide that now's the time and you're going to lose weight. And you could start changing your direction immediately. Your destination may take months or years, but the direction will change now. And as long as you stay on that course and never quit, you will hit it. And so how do we set up our proper expectations? And how do we not set ourselves up for failure, right? How do we know what's a good time frame to hit our weight goal and things like that? So I'm sure everybody here has heard of the SMART goals. I'm not going to go in depth with it, but SMART, it's just the acronym. S is for specific. So you want to set specific goals. The goal should have a clear, highly specific endpoint. So for example, don't say I want to lose weight. Don't even, and let's say your goal is 50 pounds. Don't say I want to lose 50 pounds. Say I want to lose 50 pounds by, and then put a date. That is a specific goal. Don't say I'm going to lose weight one day. say, I'm starting today to lose my 50 pounds so I could hit it by blah. The S is for specific. The 2 is measurable. You need to be able to accurately track your progress so you can judge when the goal will be met, which is probably the biggest thing that most people don't do. And this is the number one thing that we do in our War Elite program when you have a coach is we measure everything. Your weight, your food, how quick you're doing stuff, like what happens during the holidays. Like we track literally everything. And because the more data you have, the better you could accurately project what your results are going to be. The A in SMART is attainable. You have to set a goal that's, of course, attainable to you, right? Relevant, make sure that it is that you choose something that's relevant, that's important to you. And then the last one is time, which is you have to set a time frame. And this is the big thing that I always say to help out with your expectations. Like, make an honest time prediction when this could happen, but then double it. So if you say, all right, I want to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to lose 10 pounds in 1 month. Is that absolutely doable? Of course. But what I would say, if you want to lose 10 pounds in 1 month and you set up everything and it looks like that is a SMART goal, then say 2 months. Just double it. Because what happens if you go through 1 month and you lose 5 pounds, which is still amazing. But because you had the expectation of 10 pounds, you feel like you failed and you go back to your old way. Instead of saying, wow, I lost 5 pounds doing this, let me do this 1 more month to hit 10. Right? And that's just like an easy example, but that's what you want to do is you always, however long you think it's going to take you, double it. However much money you think it's going to cost you, double it. However, whatever, just double it. And that way your expectations are set up for success. And then guess what happens when we set the SMART goals, we have proper expectations, we start taking action, we're preparing, we have the right attitude, we're in the perfect opportunity. What always happens? Fear kicks in. And this fear is what also makes us stop. And it's just absolutely insane. Again, I've talked about fear a lot recently, especially, I think it was our last challenge, maybe 2 challenges ago. But the main ones is the fear of failure. So the moment you start doing something good, that fear of failure starts kicking in and you're like, oh man, I'm doing so good. And then you just start getting scared. What if? And then you stop doing what you're supposed to be doing because you're scared that you're going to fail again. And what are people going to think? And what if I actually do succeed? Then I might be alienating my peers, right? And all this fear kicks in, and that fear pushes us back and starts losing our results again. Puts us into that dip. Makes us try to justify other reasons on why we shouldn't be doing this. And it just keeps on going. But ultimately, you have to kind of fall in love with the boring work. So there's another quote. Jim Rohn's one person that said this. I think many people say it, but successful people do what the unsuccessful aren't willing to do. Successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. So when you are in that dip, remember this part, because this is probably the most important part, and this is what's going to get you out of that dip, is you have to do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. And that is the boring stuff. I call it the boring work. But it's pretty much it's the stuff that isn't posted on Instagram, right? It's the stuff that you don't see millionaires and business people and talk show hosts posting about, right? A lot of people, I don't know, it might have been Oprah, it might have been another big talk show host, but they're like, man, it must be so easy to just be a talk show host. You go on TV, you talk for an hour, you interview amazing people, and that's it. But they don't see the 14 hours of work that they put around that one episode. It's not like the person just showed up one day, jumped on television, and started doing it. It doesn't work that way. They do the boring stuff that most people aren't willing to do to get to that position. And then once they're at that position, they still do the boring stuff every single day to stay in that position. And that's exactly what the healthy and the fittest people do as well. What are some of the boring stuff? Could be exercise. Do I always feel like exercising? No, not even close. But do I exercise constantly when I don't have pneumonia? Yes, I do. Do I always want to prep my food? Absolutely not. Do I? Yes. Do I always want to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes on my day to plan the next day to make sure I have my proper meal set up and I know when I'm going to be busy, when I'm not going to be busy, when I know I should be eating? No. Do I? Yes. Do I always want to weigh and log my food? No. Do I? Yes. Do I always want to keep tracking my progress and taking progress pictures and doing all this stuff to make sure what I'm doing is actually working? Of course not. But do I? Yes. Do other successful people? Yes. Do the unsuccessful people do it? No. They just want to do what they feel like doing at that moment. And this is the stuff I promise you right here that's going to get you through that dip, because a lot of times we have that early success, as you saw. So we have, not that one. So we have that early success. And then a lot of times right here, because we had the early success, we start trying to, another thing we say is that we try to get cute. Instead of following the proven plan, we're like, oh man, I just lost 15, 20 pounds. I'm amazing. Let me try this new thing. Instead of doing the thing that made you lose the 20 pounds, we do one thing, get a little bit of success, and then we try another thing, and then we try another thing, and then we try another thing. Instead of doing the same boring stuff that got us the first result, that will get us to the next result, we always want to jump ship and try something new because we had a little bit of success. And I feel accomplished, let me try something else. Oh, I feel accomplished, let me try something else. And it is, I'm big for this. Like, I think it's a big, I know, especially if you're listening to this and you're some kind of entrepreneur or creative person, this happens a lot. Like, it's like that shiny object syndrome, right? You have a little bit of success in something, and instead of sticking to that and being super successful in that one thing, you try in something else, and then you try something else, and then you try something else. Instead of just sticking to it, do the boring work over and over and over and over again, and I promise you, you will have the success as long as you don't quit, and you will go through that dip and rise to the top. And so I'm going to end it with a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. And she says, one's philosophy is not expressed in words. It is expressed in the choices one makes. So I got something on my screen. In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. One's philosophy is not best expressed in words. It is expressed in the choices one makes. In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. So if you feel like you're overweight and you're not happy with yourself and all this stuff, it is based on the choices you made. You shaped your life and you shaped yourself. And on the flip side, if you're healthy, if you're fit and all this stuff, it is because you made the choices, because you shape your life and you shape yourself. But the best thing ever, whatever side you're on, if you want it to change, you are only one decision away. All right, guys, have a happy Wednesday. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was, if there was a takeaway. Have a beautiful night.